God, frosted fruit's so good. Not coming back to Camel. I am ready for a road trip. I feel like I've never been so ready for a road trip, and I've been thinking about going on one for ages because I feel like I want to take myself on another writer's retreat. For me, going on a writer's retreat is such a great way to refocus and bring myself back to writing every day without focusing on all the other stuff that is going on and all the other stuff that needs to be done. So I am ready to go. And I am so done dealing with dental issues, except that I'm not done because I have to spend more time and more money with dental specialists in Sydney because of the incompetent work of the dentists in Jervis Bay. And I also have to continue to cooperate with my health fund and the Dental Council of Australia, who are looking into what happened. And yeah, so I ain't done, but I'm done. So even though I'm exhausted, I am going to pack up all my antibiotics and take myself to Dubbo tomorrow, which I had planned to do anyway. I had appointments in Sydney as part of my regular cancer monitoring that were a week apart, and I didn't want to drive back down to Jervis Bay in between, so I had planned to make this week in between a bit of a writer's retreat. And tomorrow I am off to Dubbo, which is about a 5-hour drive from Sydney without stopping. And when I'm in Dubbo, I'm going to be staying at the Zoofari, which is kind of like the Australian version of a savannah and a safari, and you're in a fancy tent sitting on the edge of the savannah watching the animals all day. So that should be lovely because I really loved being on safari in Africa, and I know that this is going to be like the poorest man's version of being on safari in Africa because that was the most phenomenal experience ever. But, you know, I can't do much. We're trapped in New South Wales. This is the best I can do. So I'm going on Zoofari. My GPS took me on a really beautiful back route. And the only problem with that was that I was expecting there to be a petrol station somewhere along the way. So by the time I got to Mudgee, I probably had about 1 kilometre left until I completely ran out of petrol. Never been so happy to make it to a petrol station. The drive really was unexpectedly beautiful. There were purple flowers lining the road for miles and miles. I've never seen anything like it, but we've had an unusual amount of rain, so it was quite a welcome surprise. The Zoofari lodgings at Dubbo Zoo were incredible. You had an amazing view of the savannah, and they fed a lot of the animals right in front of the huts so that you could see. I elected a vegetarian gluten-free meal option, and there was so much food. It was so lovely to be able to sit and eat dessert and watch the animals. It was such a beautiful experience. I'm at Dubbo Zoo, which is a huge zoo that you can actually drive around, which is kind of awesome. And my little friend, the hippo, has just popped up over here, which is amazing because when I was in Africa, the hippo was the one that I desperately wanted to see. And then right at the end of my safari time, I saw a pregnant hippo that was so pregnant her belly was basically dragging on the floor, zipping through the sanctuary area at night, which was incredible. This whole experience here has been amazing. I know this is not technically a writer's retreat. I kind of hoped that this part of it might be, that I could, you know, write from the safari hut and like look out over the giraffes and stuff as I was writing and have a moment, but it's actually been super busy and I haven't had a chance, but that's fine. The only thing is I wasn't quite prepared for summer to suddenly arrive, and boy has she. It is like at least 35 degrees here, and down in Jervis Bay it was like 25 and raining, and it's hot. Never have I been more in need of the Australian delicacy that is the frosty fruit. Let's do this. God, frosty fruit's so good. Fuck me, those camels are wearing like full-on coats. They must be hot as hell. Ugh. Not coming back as a camel. It's melting. You know it's hot when even the rhinos are like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm gonna become a hippo. Comatose in a tree on a hot day. What a mood. Honestly, before that frosty fruit, I was thinking about getting my beach umbrella out of the back of the car and going to the kids' paddling pool area and being that really creepy adult who just sits in there and cools down and gives zero fucks what everyone else is doing, because it's hot. As lovely as these jacarandas are, it is time to keep on moving, and not a moment too soon because I am melting. So I'm off to Hill End now, which is a gold mining town that I actually went to for family holidays multiple times when I was little, and I want to try and find the camping ground that we used to stay at, because I want to see what the cliff edge is like that the campground is on, because my dad fell off the same cliff 3 times, and I don't know how many times you need to fall off a cliff before you learn the lesson, but apparently it's 3. So I kind of want to see what that cliff is like compared to my childhood memory of it. So we're going to Hill End now.
I am not a raincoat here to keep you warm. Then go back in the closet after the storm. I'm not a match simply waiting to burn. All I am is a friend, your friend till the end. I'm not your impression of a city wish you loved more than
I just went to step there and something made a noise. I don't like this.
I'm not here to criticize the risk. All I am is a friend, your friend till the end. All I am is a friend, your friend till the end.
There's a turtle crossing the road. Come on, Poppet, you've got to hop off the road. Oh, you've pulled your head in, darling. Okay. Well, don't get cranky when I lift you up. Excuse me. Can I put you over here? That's a good little turtle. Nestled in the valley below me is a little historic mining town called Hill End, and this is a place I used to come with my family when I was a little kid. This looks a bit like what I remember. I mean, these logs weren't here and neither was the grass. And there was a tree over here that I camped under with Tamina and Alma. And I don't know what the hell that shed thing is. But there was a pit dunny behind me that's not there anymore that gave me PTSD for pit dunnies, and so I could never hear the words pit dunny or see one without thinking of Hill End, which I'm not sure they should put on the brochure, but let's have a look and see if this is the place where my dad fell off the cliff. There's perfectly good steps there. I don't know why he didn't use those. If the pit dunny was over there behind my car, this is the place. How weird. It looks totally different to how I remember. And the cliff drop's a little steeper than I remember, but it's about 6 meters, so it was pretty accurate. But it's kind of crazy being back and seeing things that really have cemented a place in my memory as a kid. There's a ton of places we visited, but most of them are blurred into one memory, but Hill End stands out. And probably some of that has to do with my dad falling off the same cliff 3 times, but it's just a place where we had so much fun and did so much exploring. And I probably did a lot of whinging about panning for gold, and this is just a massive part of my history. I've certainly never seen it as green as it is now, and there are these little blue flowers that are in bloom all over this hilltop, and it's just absolutely beautiful. The reason I think Project Australia is going to be tricky is that unless you've really been to Australia, it's hard to sort of capture the detail of the bush and to make it come alive and to highlight the differences and the subtle changes in color. And it is a very specific color palette here in Australia, and I'm just not sure how I'm going to go about capturing it and describing it. It is a really beautiful countryside. I don't remember Hill End being this beautiful, but maybe it takes time to appreciate things that we didn't appreciate as a kid. Right now I'm going to head back into town and check into my accommodation and kind of go for a little explore. It is a very small town, but I need to get out of here because I am getting eaten alive by bugs and ants, which is unpleasant but very classic Australia. Sometimes things don't work out as you plan, and I feel like that has been a running theme for this trip. I nearly ran out of petrol because there weren't any petrol stations along the route that I took. I forgot medication back home and had to try and find a way to get it, and unfortunately the timing at which I run out of that medication is here in Hill End, and it is literally the middle of nowhere and there's no way I can get medication here. This town is the pub, the grocery store, the tourist center, and a church, and that is it. There's a few houses, but that's it. It's the tiniest little town. It's very picturesque and beautiful. I am supposed to be here for 2 nights, but there is no phone reception in this town for me on my provider. Apparently it's got the fastest internet in all of Australia if you're with the other 2 main providers, but not the main provider. So I have no phone reception, no internet, nada. The other thing is that this motel, while it is run by lovely people and in a lovely town, it is old school, which is fine, but it's like old school, if you get my drift. I'm gonna move on tomorrow, even though I'm supposed to stay another night, because I mean, I'm desperately waiting for that aircon to kick in. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, probably because it's on full blast. But my nostalgic trip down Hill End Road has finished. I had also kind of planned this trip to be like a bit of a writer's retreat as well as a little bit of a travel break, because we haven't been able to travel for so long because of COVID. And I actually met someone the other day who said she was in Dubbo just because if she didn't leave Sydney, she was going to punch someone. Fair enough. But I wanted to kind of like find a groove and be able to sit down and write, and that ain't happening. In Dubbo, it was really busy. There was heaps of stuff happening, which is really cool. Here, there is nothing happening. So, which technically is conducive to writing, but not in 5,000 degrees. So, I'm off to the Blue Mountains tomorrow, which is another 2 hours from here. I'm gonna pick up my meds. And then I'm just staying 1 night in a motel somewhere near the Three Sisters, and I'm just doing 1 night there because I'm supposed to be here tomorrow night, so it doesn't really fit into my bookings, and it's the weekend, so there is nothing. And then I've got a couple of days at this really beautiful Airbnb that is kind of like on the mountain's edge, from what I can tell from the photos, and it looks amazing. So I'm hoping that there I will be able to finally get some writing done and maybe tidy up the last bits of book 3 of the Phoenix series, although it is not likely to be published this year like I hoped. I still haven't heard back from my cover designer. It's been like 2 months, which in light of a pandemic makes me a little bit worried about her. But I'm still hopeful that I will at some point hear back from her. Potentially I have heard back from her and I just don't know it because I don't have any reception of any kind. But I don't think that the 3rd book in the Phoenix series is going to be out this year, just because, I mean, before I came on this trip, like I said, I was really hoping it was going to be a writer's retreat. And as you know, if you've been watching this channel, I've had a root canal lately and I've been to the dentist a number of times. And I kept saying, something doesn't feel quite right, my tooth feels longer, it just feels like my bite has changed, it doesn't feel right when I bite on it. And they were like, no, it's fine, it's fine. Not fine. So because they missed that, I now have an abscess that has gone all the way up into my sinus, and it looks like on the scan it's just destroyed the bone and the connective tissue between my jaw, so between that tooth and the sinus, which is horrific. So I had to haul ass to Sydney, and that's how I forgot my meds, because I needed to see a specialist for treatment ASAP, because I was already feeling rubbish. I've been talking about how tired I've been feeling and how run down, and I think I must still be burnt out. And no, I just had a raging infection that was going untreated. And like, I was looking at the videos and the photos I'd taken from that time, and I was like, oh, I look very pale. I mean, I know I'm pasty, like borderline Casper the Ghost, but this was like nearly transparent. And then I was like, oh, not only do I look tired and pasty, I look unwell. And I was like, something's going on, like something's not right. And I'm not in any pain, but it just doesn't feel right. And I had a little hunch, and then I found a bump on my jaw and I was like, oh, shit, and had to take myself to hospital. So joy, it's been a journey of unexpected in the last week or two, and I've only just started feeling better today, which is why I was kind of like, well, look, I'm not going to try and get this book out this year, because I was expecting it to take a lot longer for the antibiotics to make me feel better, given that I felt like shit for weeks. But you know, it's just what I needed. I didn't need another massive infection. I didn't need my autoimmune diseases to be triggered. I didn't need to leave my meds at home, but it's life. Okay, so I know the bathroom tour isn't usually part of things, but when I say old school, I meant comes with a friggin' scorpion. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It helps my channel grow and I would really appreciate it. It also helps me know what kinds of videos you guys like to see more of, so that I can create a channel that you guys enjoy. I hope to see you again in the next video, and don't forget to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at PipCoombs. See ya!